everyone, this is Fantasy-esque and welcome back to the Vampire Amazon Challenge in The Sims 4. We are following the reign of Queen Darling Cloudy Snarl, who has recently welcomed Dame Vampyre into the main court. And already the young teen is noticing her mother's attention drifting somewhere else. From the moment her daughters come in, Shannon's been talking about nothing but the advantages she's gained in court. Now that Vampyre is here, she might be able to maneuver her too. We are picking up at 1:30 p.m. on Wednesday, and before we do anything else, I think we need to take a look at Vampyre's relationships to see what exactly is going on. She is the final piece of the puzzle, I feel like, when it comes to the youngsters in the main court, since, she is the youngest that we have. So once we figure out where she stands in the web of relationships, I think we'll get a lot of clarity in terms of where we might be going. So let's have a look. Now I'm going to pull up her social group before we look at how she's going with her mother. So Vampyre appears to have a decent relationship with everyone except for Queen Darling. She is best friends with Nimue, which we are aware of. She's also friends with Yorick. And she has a good impression of Zara, Zuleika, and Nydia, but she's not really that close to them. Makes sense, they are quite a bit older. And then we have Zara, who she just stays out of the way of. She hasn't ever really interacted with Zara much. Now, I kind of get the sense that there is a reason why she doesn't like Queen Darling so much. We might figure that out if we take a look at her family members, or even the household roommates. So within the household, she is really close to her mother. She's good friends with her mother Shannon. She's also really good friends with Lady Caleb, which makes sense because Shannon and Caleb have been in an on and off relationship ever since Vampyre was quite young. And we did say that in terms of her wanting to be a painter, she kind of looks up to Lady Lilith, but I think she admires Lilith from afar. But she is closer to Caleb and Shannon, and this might be a reason why she does not like Darling. I think Vampyre is quite envious of others, and like I discussed at the end of the last episode, the relationship they have with their mothers, she wants that for herself, but for as long as she's been alive, she's only known her mother Shannon to be running after the queen and running after power and trying to kind of scheme. And I think instead of blaming her mother, Vampyre blames Queen Darling. She feels like Queen Darling has created such an environment that her mother is so greedy for power and can't find fulfillment anywhere else. She feels like the court is very unbalanced and immoral, and basically the queen has kind of allowed this to happen. And the reason why she's suffering in terms of her family relationship, why she can't get all of her mother's attention, is because of the queen. So those are kind of the major relationships we have going on. And then she is friends with her father. Not that close though. I feel like all the ladies are pretty much friends with their father, but nobody has like an amazing relationship, which makes sense because they grew up in the female faculty and then, they're moving into the main court. But I've been seeing, she likes deep thoughts, I've been seeing Vampyre autonomously interact with Shannon a lot ever since she's come in, but I feel like every time they do interact with each other, Shannon is very excitedly telling her daughter all of her plans, all the things that she's done, the divisions she's caused, the cracks she's taken advantage of, what she's repaired with Caleb, but Vampyre doesn't really care about all of that. Vampyre just wants her mother's attention, but her mother kind of sees her as a tool to be used, which is very, very unfortunate. So that's what we have over here. Now obviously, if she's friends with Yorick, how is she in terms of Zuleika? She actually has a better relationship with, or a better impression with Zara. Of Zara? Yes, of Zara than she does of Zuleika. And she has a bad compatibility with Zuleika and a good one with Yorick. So you know what? I kind of like the idea that Vampyre, even though she's best friends with Nimue, she actually likes the pairing of Yorick and Zara, and she hopes that Zorik and Yara, I'm like mixing the names up. That Yorick and Zara, they end up falling in love with each other, or they end up in a really happy relationship. She doesn't want anything bad for them. But I think Vampyre would kind of hope for that, because she is friends with Yorick and she wants good things for him. And she hopes that maybe he'll give Zara a chance, because Zara doesn't seem like that bad of a princess. So we have that. And we know that Nimue kind of thinks the opposite, because Nimue, she sympathizes with both Yorick and Zuleika. She kind of hopes that they would be together. And why is she out here talking to Caleb? Or like, what does she want to do with Caleb? I don't know what she wants to do with Caleb. If you're gonna sword fight with Zara, go sword fight with Zara. But you know what? She's out here in the sun and she's burning, which I do realize, guys. I realize she's burning. But I have said before, I have given them kind of free reign of their autonomy to go outside and take risky behaviors, or, do risky things. And it would be very tragic if Vampyre, as soon as she came in, died because she was in some way trying to prove herself to her mother. Like, maybe she's doing something drastic to try and either get the attention of her mother by making her mother proud, or like being useful to her mother, or she might be trying to deliberately get injured so that her mother can give her some attention. I don't know. But I kind of get the sense that Vampyre would do something daredevil like that, because she is active. And I think when she was younger, we kind of discussed the fact that she likes to constantly be doing things. She doesn't like to stay idle. And I'm wondering if now that she's in the main court and she's a bit older, she understands things slightly more, she might do something drastic for her mother's attention, which is kind of scary. But also, now that she is in the main court, we have a confirmed date for when this generation is going to end, because it is going to be on her young adult birthday. So I actually predicted that the generation was going to end here on a Tuesday, like the second week of autumn. It is going to be on the second week of autumn, but her birthday is the day after my prediction. So we'll probably end the generation the day after that on a Thursday. Again, this might go back and forth depending. It's definitely going to be after her birthday, we'll see. But that's what I'm thinking. As soon as her birthday's done, that'll kind of be the last quest that we have within this generation, and then we'll start to wrap up, do the succession process, the handing me down of the queen, getting off the throne, passing it on to Zara. We'll have all of that. Now, this end date could change if Vampyre dies. Like, I'm just mentally preparing us, right? Because if Vampyre dies, then the youngest female we have is going to be Nimue. And if that's the case, then we'll still probably end after the archery tournament. I mean, this is very close together. And if we start the next generation, we're going to get really caught up in, setting that up. So I don't want to miss the archery tournament. But that is where we are at in terms of when we will be ending the season. We are picking up at 12 a.m. on Thursday, and we are going to be doing some whims. It seems as though there are a few dramatic things lined up for us. So Zuleika is joining a conversation with her betrothed Zorro and Shannon over here. And you know what? Something I need to actually get done is put maybe the portraits of the ladies in their chambers, because I constantly forget which room belongs to who. And since I don't have headline effects on, it's hard for me to hover over the bed and kind of see. So I might do that so that it's easier for me to figure out like who's in whose room and why. Regardless of who this particular room belongs to, she's down here with two of them, but she wants to play a prank. So let's go ahead and see who she has the closest relationship to in the household. She has a 54 with Caleb, a 12 with Vampyre, a -100 with Zara, a 2 with Queen Darling, 100 with her mother Akira, a 12 with Lilith, a 40 with Nimue, a 94 with Nydia, and a 31 with Shannon. So she's gonna go to her mother. She's gonna play a prank on her mother. Let's see. She is going to scare her mother. Probably going to tell her mother that she walked in on Shannon having a private conversation with Zoro. She doesn't know about what. She's gonna scare her mother with that bit of information. Yeah. And I think Akira would know that Shannon is definitely a concerning woman to be talking or advising her son-in-law in any way. So she's gonna do that. But then Zuleika is going to kind of try and ease her mother's concerns and say, okay, I'm blowing out of proportion. I don't think they were talking about anything serious because I came in as soon as they started talking, so it's not like she could do anything. But Akira, you really need to go take a bath, honey, or a shower. You really need to take a shower. So can we go? We don't want stink clouds over here. Can we go? Come on, shower time. Shower time! Okay, wonderful. So she's gonna do that. Then we have Zara. So Zara is the one wanting to be extremely dramatic over here, guys, because she wants to make an enemy. And right now, the only other person that she really has a bad enough relationship with is her brother Zoro. So I think their rivalry or her sense of betrayal has escalated enough that she wants to declare Zoro as her enemy. This is kind of the final straw. She's basically breaking ties with Zoro as his twin, and I feel terrible for him because Zoro looks so sad, guys. Look at how sad Zoro looks. He can see his twin sister, and I mean, it's not as though he grew up kind of wanting to be the closest to her. I think her personality was always bigger and more intimidating than him, but he somehow found himself kind of, you know, under her wing, and it's always been that way, and he's always been at peace with her. He's never clashed with her until this point, and his betrothal to Zuleika has completely changed things around, and I think his soft and kind heart just can't take it. But Zara, she's vicious. She is going to declare her twin brother as her enemy and basically draw the line between them. Okay, Zara, let's go wreak some havoc. Let's wreak some havoc, shall we? Let's go do that. Okay, she's gonna walk up to them. Also, Nydia, do you maybe want to take a shower? It's ridiculous that I have to remind these Sims to take a shower, but I'm gonna get her to do that. Okay, she's interrupting their sword fight to declare Zoro her enemy. I feel so bad for him. Oh my goodness. Now, he is lucky in the sense that the males cannot be affected by things like this, in terms of the fact that they cannot have a judgment called on them because that is reserved for the females of the court. But still, I do feel terrible for him. That's a very miserable life to know that your sister, who is probably going to become queen, hates you. But not only that, she hates your future wife. So basically, Zara is going to have it out for this couple and this family, which is problematic because, even if it doesn't affect Zorik, what am I saying? I'm mixing everyone's names up. I don't know where my head is at. Even if it doesn't affect Zoro, there we go. I've got the right person. Even if it doesn't affect Zoro, it could very well, this bias that Zara has towards him and Zuleika, it could affect their children. So any child born between Zoro and Zuleika in the future might come under the same sort of scrutiny by Zara. She might decide to make their lives miserable if she's unhappy with these guys because it's going to be the offspring of her enemies, right? So a whole lot of implications because of what Zara is doing. I feel really, really sad for him though. Okay, meanwhile, Caleb wants to drink a glass of nectar. So let's see if we can. I mean, you can make a drink for yourself. Do that. She wants nectar. So let's just go ahead and get Let's see. Oh, grape nectar. Let's get some grape nectar for her. I think this is her being introspective a little bit. Because we did talk about how Caleb's been confused by Darling and Shannon. She's kind of getting attention from the both of them right now. So she's not entirely sure what to think. I feel like her getting a glass of nectar is going to be part of her just mulling over things, over her choices, trying to figure out where her feelings are at and, you know, sort her thoughts. She needs some quiet time to get through this. And we did say that she's kind of naive. She sees the good in everyone. And that comes from the fact that she's had a lot of good things happen to her. So she, I think, needs more time to figure out what she wants to do. I think when someone has a stronger personality than her, they are able to kind of bulldoze her a little bit or hijack her decisions. So hopefully this gives her a little bit more clarity. Lilith, meanwhile, wants to finish a painting. Oh, she wants to finish a painting. But also, we do have... Is that Billy's ghost? Is that Billy? We were just talking about Billy. Okay, well, can we... Actually, wouldn't it be amazing if we, like, got a painting of Billy's ghost? That would be amazing. Okay, can we come over here? Can you, like, hurry before she kind of runs away? And get out. Come on, paint. Don't run away! Where are you gonna sit down? Where's she gonna sit down? Oh no, hold on. I'm moving the easel. I'm moving it again. I wanna capture Billy. Okay, come here. Paint from reference. Right over here. Please don't move. Billy! Billy, don't do it! Where is Billy going? I want Billy to stop somewhere. Okay, where is Billy? Billy. This is dangerous. We're outside. I do not like this outdoorsy thing. Can we... okay. Wait, I'm grabbing the wrong thing. Might have to try my luck. Like over here. Maybe like over here, try my luck. Okay, we'll have the easel there. I'm dragging her outside to try and get this painting. Billy's gonna disappear at any moment right now. This ghost is going to disappear at any moment, and then that won't be great. Okay, who can we grab? Where is Billy? Billy. Okay, Billy's right there. I don't like where Zara's standing. I don't like where Zara's standing. But Billy is right here. You know what? We might just capture this. Like, that is pretty cool. It's like the back of Billy's ghost. That's actually pretty cool. So she's gonna paint that. She saw like a glimpse of Billy's ghost. A glimpse. Caleb, why are you going off at Lilith? I don't know what's going on over here. Why is she going off at Lilith? She was getting mad at her. That's interesting. But yeah, that would be really, really cool. She caught a glimpse of the ghost. And everyone's sword fighting. Okay, so Lilith, I'm gonna let you continue doing that while you are on the painting. With all this chaos going on, let's jump over to Shannon. Shannon wants to do something romantic, and we know the only one that really she's pursuing romance with right now is Caleb. So let's see if we can find Caleb. Where'd she go? Caleb is inside. She's gonna go to Caleb and she is going to be romantic with her. Oh, would she do like a first kiss? I don't know. You know what? I think... I don't know, but we do have like... I think she would go for a first kiss. Because that counts as something romantic, right? I think she's gonna go for a first kiss, guys. Like, the queen is occupied over here, and we know that Shannon keeps sneaking over. She probably realizes that Caleb is confused and feels the need to kind of hammer it in. Like, influence Caleb as much as possible, sway her. while she is in this muddled sort of state. Because if Caleb hasn't entirely decided where her feelings lean fully, she wants to make Caleb lean towards her. So she's, striking while the iron is hot. She had a first kiss with Caleb, and I feel like this is something that is not going to be too easy to get over or to forget. Caleb's already tense. I mean, that was steamy, but Caleb's tense. Similar to how she was tense when the queen gave her attention, I feel like that's because in the heat of the moment she gets wrapped up in this, but then Caleb feels like she's getting more confused, which is why she gets tense. So there's that. And look, the queen just came in and Shannon so smartly hugged her, said goodbye, and walked off. Guys, Shannon is dangerous. Shannon is dangerous. But Lilith, how are you going with your painting? Okay, she's still doing her painting. Let's try and wrap this up, and then we're gonna move this to the gallery. So come on, let's wrap up this painting. Wonderful, wonderful. I'll name it, let's see, Billy's. Jeez, Billy's. Ghost? Yeah, we'll name it Billy's Ghost. And that's what it is. So let's get this moved to the gallery. So we have one more thing to kind of look at. Okay, here we go, here we go. Yeah, brilliant, brilliant. So these are like art pieces that I'm gonna make copies of and move to the new castle whenever I make the Generation 2 castle. That's gonna be fun. That is gonna be fun. So okay, we've got that down. Excellent, excellent. So you are done with your painting. Let me move the easel back where it was. Okay, here we go. So that we can use it in the future. We can locate it easily, at least, when I need it in the future. Why is this all over the place? Like, can you just not... Why is this such a struggle? Thank you. Thank you. Well, that is what we have for the whims. After a day of observing the court, Vampyre came to a realization that her worth to her mother was tied to how many moves she could make in this rapidly changing environment. The queen was oblivious, and the crown princess was volatile, which meant there was room for the Bright Paws to do something drastic. And with that said and done, I'm going to leave off here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.